Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Princess of STEM, where we discuss all things science, technology, engineering, and math. And now your host, Dr. Whitney Gaskins.
I don't even have on cool sneakers today. I have on my combat boots because I'm here for a fight. I am literally ready to duke it out with you today.
Why?
Because I feel like we're going to be on the opposite side.
What are we talking about?
Okay, so welcome to the Princess of STEM Diaries. Today's episode is really focused on higher education, the benefits of it, how it's changed, especially because of government policy, and affordability. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, so I get to say some of the things that I think and don't get to say.
Okay, so I'm going to give you the floor first. Because you clearly, this is why I'm ready to duke it out, combat boots and everything. Why? What are you thinking about higher ed in this moment right now?
I'm trying to, first of all, I think the first 2 years of public education should be free.
We don't disagree. Maybe we aren't fighting at all.
I think we should have a K through 14 model.
What does that mean?
It means, because we've already said that we're willing to pay for 13 years of education.
Who said that?
The public. We have public
What
school.
are the 13 years?
Kindergarten.
And then 1 through 12?
Yes, 1 through 12 is 12 plus 1.
No. See, now we're already starting off with a fallacy. Not everyone gets kindergarten.
Okay.
The fact that there are schools, public schools, that only have half-day kindergarten and kids only go in the morning and other kids go in the afternoon.
So we can concede that we're willing to pay for it because we're having a discussion that's about the garnish and not the plate. We've accepted that we're willing to pay for 12 or 12 and a half years.
12 and a half years. Mm-hmm.
So you and I can be on the same page there.
You don't want to fight me yet?
Not over the garnish.
Okay. So yeah, the public has agreed that
we're willing
education should be paid for first grade through 12th grade and maybe
a little bit of
kindergarten. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I think we've accepted that for a lot of the workforce, high school graduation is not enough.
And this is where things get crazy about the state of higher ed right now.
Right. And so my thing is we should have 2 years of education / training, public training. So if you want to go off to a private school, that's on you. If you want to go to Harvard, whatever, you figure that out. Not mad at that. But if you want to go to a public institution, if you want to go to a community college, if you want to go become an electrician, I believe that they should give you that 2 years.
Okay, so they do. You just have to go to the right school.
Okay.
I went to a high school, Madison Comprehensive High School, that you can graduate from high school with your culinary arts associates, auto mechanic certification, dental hygienist, cosmetologist. Oh my gosh, I'm missing something. It's a vocational high school.
So
they graduate with the trade, and half the people I went to school with are doing that trade to this day.
Okay, but I want to become an engineer.
They had college prep. That was me.
I know. So, but you still had to pay for your first 2 years of college.
So you want me to be able to get my 2-year prereqs done for free?
Yes.
Before going into the last 2 to 3 years
and
of your education.
And it involves a change of mindset. We have to stop thinking of it as us paying for people and think of it as an investment.
Okay, yes.
Because we consider, like I said, we've accepted 12 years.
So what's adding 2 more?
Yes.
Then why not make it all free? Why not just say that all education in the country is free and there's models for that too?
No.
Plenty of countries have free education.
For the purpose of this discussion,
okay,
I agree. I agree that your education, the 4 years, should be free.
Okay.
I'm saying and so let me make that clear.
You're pro free education.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think if we're talking about, because you always get those, well, if I'm paying for you to go to college, what about the person that goes to trade school? And
you
so,
have the quality of life that you want.
but my argument about the K through 14 is that you can do that. That means everybody has a pathway that they can take for
Yes.
those 2 years of training.
Correct.
That's why I say I believe in a K through 14 model. In my heart, and maybe this is just an area where I'm a bleeding heart liberal, which I'm not, but
But you would be considered one based off of you wanting free education.
yeah, but I guess people are allowed to be one-trick voters. But
yeah.
I believe education, as other countries have models that do that, should be free. But if I'm talking about a public debate and changing discourse to where the public can get around something, and if there was actually going to be policy around this, we would say invest as a country in this and say that it's important for us to have a stable workforce where there's enough plumbers, where there's enough engineers, where there's enough scientists, where there's just people who have a higher level of education. K through 14 is where you can get that and put pathways for the majority of the populace under that K through 14 model. And I'm going to add this.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I know you're about to say something, but I wanted to get this out there because Lester Spence, who's a professor at Johns Hopkins, he did this about 10 years ago. He actually did the numbers for if everyone could go to college for free.
Yeah.
And it was a reasonable number. And I'm not going to say it because I know I want to get it wrong. I want to say 36 billion. This is one of those where I'll send information when I find it to Lorenzo, and Lorenzo put up a cool graphic telling what it is. But because I think we were having a discussion on Facebook.
It's only 36 billion,
and that's why I say I have to send it to Lorenzo.
Even
because
if
I don't
it was 50 billion, we spent more than that to support war.
And I'm saying I have to look it up because I did not come in here with facts, but I do not want to be a Joe Rogan and put something out here and have millions of people following this and then have 2 people tell me, Delano, I'm wrong, but all they heard was me say it only cost 36 billion. So I am a person that believes in data and science, and so when this episode comes out, the correct information will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen.
I cannot believe you said all of that in your one sentence, and I'm just going to let it slide because I agree. But here's the thing that I needed to say about what you said about the pushback, right? So there's pushback of like, well, what if we're paying for your degree, right? Because people always care about their taxes when someone else gets when it looks like somebody else gets a benefit. Why don't people realize that the more educated our populace actually is, it is nothing but a community benefit? Here's the example. When you have well-educated teachers, your kids are then supported by well-educated teachers. When you have fantastic doctors, our health is better because they have the ability to get educated. When you have fantastic lawyers, we can change the system to make sure that everyone really can believe in justice again. When you spend the money to educate engineers, your infrastructure can maybe move past the F rating that we have because we've invested. Why don't we ever understand education as a community? We need everyone. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a PhD, but I still add value because of what I provide to the community. Everybody deserves to be able to do the thing that brings them happiness and helps the community. It is a false statement to say it's not fair that my taxes go cover this thing. That is a crap way of looking at life because it's not fair that my tax dollar, if we looked at it that way, it's not fair that my tax dollars go to pay for roads on streets that I've never driven on. Do you see how ridiculous this argument is? Is your tax dollar only supposed to go to things that only serve you? Or are you going to realize that anytime people are living better lives, it is serving you?
Yeah. So I think for me, I don't even need to have people understand it. I think, and I had this exercise with someone who's a conservative.
Tell me how that went.
Way before, we were in this MAGA piece, and we sat down. We were like, okay, let's work on what we want the country to look like. And he told me what his one thing would be, and I told him what my one thing would be. Like, you don't have to like my one thing, but we're paying for a bunch of stuff. His thing was defense, and my thing was education. Like, we can have a space where there are things that my tax dollars go towards where you don't have to, like, when did we get to this place where we have to agree with everything? Because every time someone says that, they say, well, who's paying for this? Who's paying for us to
do half?
Right.
I almost said something too that I know I shouldn't
say.
say.
Things that our tax dollars are paying for, I didn't vote for half the stuff I see that they're paying using my tax dollars for. So
Mhm.
I don't even necessarily need you to be on board and agree with my argument. I'm saying let's scale it down. Let's say we gonna pick a few things that we can put on the table as things we want to see. And the thing that I would put on the table, and to your point, is education. That would be
Yeah.
my number one. And if your number one is defense, because we're not saying you only paying for one thing.
Correct.
Pay for your defense, pay for my education, and we're good.
But this is the thing about it. I feel like that's old school at this point in our lives view of politics. Politics are like very polarized. It's black and
Mhm.
white. That's when we were living in the gray. And I hate to be that person of like, oh my gosh, I miss this. But I do miss when the discourse was more about like, how are we going to fix the budget? Not from we're not going to have debt, because that's literally just a soundbite. Because if people that said that they voted because they cared about the debt, usually conservatives care about what are you thinking now that we are more in debt than we've ever been before from the very person that you voted for that said that they were going to fix that problem, right? Like we're worse off than we've ever been when we think about national debt. Anyway, that's a tangent. My whole point in saying this is that there was a time where people would communicate, and the politics were about what should be the priority, not this craziness that we have now. And how this pertains to education, the craziness is currently people are saying nursing, social work are no longer considered professional degrees. And those are, it was like every single helpful community type of service provider is now no longer a professional degree. Why that matters is because you could get student loans to pay for college. Most people finance their education. I don't know a lot of people that parents were just writing checks, right? Like, at least it's not in my sphere of influence. I know it happens. It's just not in my sphere. Finance their degrees. Without those classifications from the federal government, you're not eligible for federal loans, which means less and less people are going to go into these fields, which means there's going to be less social workers. There are going to be less nurse practitioners. There are going to be less healthcare professionals in a time when we need more. I'm appalled.
Well, I said something, it might have been over a year ago, where we talked about this. Not here.
Yeah.
And I put it on Facebook. I don't post a lot of stuff on Facebook.
Anymore. You used to be a keyboard thug.
But I made a point because they talk about, because there's always been this kind of discussion, but there's just been this groundswell around why aren't trade schools an option? Why are we talking about trade school? And I said, my fear, not necessarily trade schools shouldn't be pushed. I said, I don't want us, and I don't want to offend anyone because I don't know enough about caste systems to blanketly say, but I don't want us to have a caste-like system where if you're from this community,
these are the
your
jobs
best skills, like you could be an A student, you can have these qualifications, and if you're from this circumstance, your ceiling is plumbing. Whereas if you have the same kind of background and credentials, your background is to be a doctor.
Well, what you're saying isn't far off, which is why I'm appalled about this declassification of degree, because the degrees that they declassified are largely for women and people of color that were pursuing them. And so now you're literally trying to tell people, basically, if you can't afford it, you can't be it. And so then these are the affordable careers for you. But that's also what is equally as disturbing, is that there's this grand push. It is true propaganda to say that you don't need degrees, and they're pushing that. But you know what's interesting is the data tells us otherwise. Certain communities have been applying at even greater rates to higher education. They're not buying the rhetoric, but other communities that might not have all of the information are buying the rhetoric. And I know you didn't want to call it a caste system, but I will say it is certainly to build an underclass, because our society and our economic system only works to its fullest potential when there is an underclass. And so you have to produce an underclass intentionally, Because if everybody were to be prosperous, we would have to agree that we need to change our economic system.
But I think, it's funny. That's one of my favorite lines. Lean on Me is one of my favorite
I love
movies.
Lean on Me.
And I mean, outside the Crazy Joe Batman, one of my favorite lines from that movie, and he's like, "We are dealing with an educational system that is turning blacks into a permanent underclass."
Yes. And all I can say is yes. How do you it's actively happening right now. And that's why I was like, oh, we're going to fight, because I thought you were going to have opposite views, but it feels like we're very aligned. I think the thing that is different is that you have more tolerance for things that are nonsensical than I do. Like the general public, like not making education free in general rubs me the wrong way. Because we have the money. We have enough institutions to support this. And all it does is better society. That's literally all it does.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, other thoughts that you have about this? Because I have other thoughts.
That's...
Okay, so you didn't comment at all about the declassification of degree.
No, my point is that my point about we're creating this system, the caste-like system, that's related to that.
Okay.
You can't afford to go to college, so even though you might be potential to be the best nurse in the world, you need to go do this instead.
Okay.
That's my response to that.
To the declassification. Do you think college is necessary?
Absolutely.
For everybody?
Not necessarily for everybody, but I think some kind of training is necessary for everybody.
So this is also where the push comes from. No one has ever, I don't want to say no one has ever. That seems way too general. But as a society, maybe as people, have we ever discussed that there was this grand push to make everyone go to college? Like they told generations. I know I was always told that I had to go to school, not just from my parents. The way the structure of life was like you go to high school and you go to college, and no one ever said like the careers that exist if you just graduated high school. And people are trying to romanticize that time and act like those things still exist. And my argument is those don't exist. What jobs are available in our workforce for those who just graduate high school?
With no skill training?
With no skill training. Because that was a pathway.
I don't know, because I would argue that most of those jobs, if you're looking at, because, I mean, they're being replaced by robots and technology.
Technological advances have put those jobs at risk.
Because, I mean, I've done workshops where we talked about that, and now AI, now everybody's kind of seen it, but I talked about even when it was just, pre-AI, but it was just talking about how in our parents' days and our grandparents' days, you could go work at Kroger.
Yeah.
And because I have a cousin, one of my mother's first cousins, worked at Kroger.
My dad did for 25 years.
You could work there and you could advance and you could get your normal raise. And that was enough to you marry somebody else that could be in a similar position, and you could
live off of that.
You could be firmly middle class in that scenario where you have two people who are working, two people are going to work 40 hours, they're advancing, don't have a 4-year degree. I can't say whether or not she has a degree. I don't believe she does, and this is not taking anything away because she built a life for her kids, my cousins.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
No.
Like now, you go into the grocery store, everything is self-serve where one person is watching 10 lanes.
You're checking, like there's one person. Yeah, it might be about 10.
Yeah. And we've talked about all that. I mean, there's still a post office, but
is it really a post office?
Well, there's still a mail person that comes around.
Oh yeah.
But how many actual letters do you get? If they really figure that out, I guarantee they don't want to have to deal with it because it's a loss. But if you look at things like that, like when was the last time you mailed someone a letter? You sent them an email. I mean, even fax machines. There was a time when fax machines replaced like how we go through phases of technology. There was a time when you would send a fax and then emails replaced fax. And so there's just so many things. Like people used to go door to door selling encyclopedias.
I don't even, can you buy an encyclopedia?
I don't know. Because I mean, everybody had that set. Like
I had
somebody's grandmother or auntie had that set of encyclopedias.
Yes.
And they came around every year and they got a new set.
Okay. Every year you guys were balling.
I didn't say we did, but
we
I'm
had
saying
an old
yeah.
one, and you had to remember to update
But you could
it.
update it every year.
You could update it.
And you don't do that.
We don't do that.
I mean,
anymore.
if you look at, I can pull out my phone and things that Google alone, and the guy that went to Google, there's a Michigan bias. He went to Michigan.
You in Michigan.
Founder of Google went to Michigan, so I'm always going to throw that out there. But if you look at all, like, Google has been bad for the working class people.
Yes.
Like, if you look at from being able to send a letter, that affects the post office, Google Maps. Like, what did we go? We went through what? 4 iterations, probably in less than a generation.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you
my
remember
life.
you used to go to the AAA
and get an atlas.
and my mother would do it. And they call them triptychs, where you would go down.
I did not know that's what they were called.
You would go down and they say, "Hey, I'm going to Chicago," and they would print you off a triptych and they would tell you how to get there.
I had
And there was-
MapQuest.
And you would have a map. But people had actual maps. And then
I had maps too, but
and
like
then they had MapQuest. Then
but
they went to
MapQuest-
MapQuest. But MapQuest will have you lost because if it's
Baby,
not updated,
a
you
road
put
is
some-
closed.
Yeah,
you need
you-
a detour and you don't know where you're
you
going.
trying to go to Columbus, end up in Cleveland, messing around with MapQuest.
More than once.
But
I
then
have
they
been
went to
lost.
GPS.
Oh,
to the
you would
Garmin,
like buy those
the turn right now
things.
thing. And
I
but
forgot about
Garmin, you had to
those.
update that too.
I
Because
forgot
you
about
had to download the
Garmin.
updates on Garmin. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
They had
Keep
to
going.
remember, turn right now. Like there was a commercial talking about
I love
make
those
sure you
mayhem
update.
commercials.
Yep. And then finally we got to
Our phone
we got to Google Maps. That's 4 things that changed
in my
within
lifetime.
the course. Yeah.
So
half
less
your
than 40
lifetime.
years. Yeah.
Because my mother was probably using maps while I was in high school until she moved
I was
to
using a map
MapQuest.
to first learn to drive.
Yeah.
Then it went to, I never had triptychs, or we didn't call them that.
That was when you went on the, like, back when people drove from like Cincinnati to St. Louis. You
Oh,
would
okay.
go
okay.
down-
I don't remember.
And they would plan your trip for you, and they could give you places to go. Down
I remember
there.
AAA though, right?
Well, you got
Doing
through
those
AAA.
things. No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like AAA in itself also was affected by technology because you would go. They did everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
Booked your route. Like AAA was that thing. Like, and then people
Mhm.
started doing planning, travel agencies and stuff. Like now, I feel-
Travel agents have been affected.
Yeah,
What-
yeah.
Who uses a travel agent anymore?
but people do it now again because I think people
to
forgot.
try to give you the experience.
Well, people forgot how much work it is.
Yes.
To actually plan a full trip.
Yes.
It is exhausting. And I would rather pay someone to plan it for me. And I was like, the fact that people are bringing back travel agencies,
Mm-hmm.
I think is beautiful. It's bringing it back in a way because you just don't want to spend, I'm speaking for me right now, spending that time to plan the trip, if you don't have it, is frustrating.
Right.
So I feel like that's an industry that's coming back,
Mm-hmm.
not because anything other than convenience. It's just and it always was a convenience, but
Right.
people are overworking and they don't have time to plan their own vacations.
Mm.
Okay, keep going. You were gonna give other examples and I interrupted you because I was
I
really
can go
into
on
it.
and- like the iPhone has replaced
I mean, phones in general.
phones. You can look up information in your phone. You can figure out how to get from A to B in your phone. You can read a book in your phone. Remember, there were companies that had to print physical books. Like, you were an Audible person. Like, when was the
Yes.
last time you pulled out a book? I mean, that's why libraries switched. Like, libraries
Yeah,
switched from, now they are maker spaces, and
They have Libby.
they have changed the face of what you do when you go to the library. Because library used to be the place where you got a book, read it, and left.
I love listening to books and discourse. So
Yeah.
I'm a podcast audio book girly. Like it's my if I'm cooking, I just have an AirPod in, I'm making dinner and I'm listening to a book or a like
Mm-hmm.
I'm a consumer of information. So I just love that. And it makes it easier for me to be able to do something else
Mm-hmm.
and still absorb information.
But even if you're looking at the setup for the technology, like 15 years ago, we couldn't do this here.
True.
Like, you would have to go to an
A
actual
studio.
studio that had all kinds of big equipment.
yeah.
And I mean, now you got people like, we just got a new phone, and like, I can take my blood pressure on my phone. Like,
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm like, I might need to upgrade.
yeah, but there's people who are making movies just with their phones.
Interesting.
Remember, like my father took pictures and he had the little dark space in the basement with the little thing. And you had
Your dad had a dark room?
Yes.
You guys were developing film in the
Yes.
basement?
Yes.
Y'all,
When was the last time you actually printed a picture?
I'm learning
Like,
how
you just shared a
bougie
picture
my
with somebody
husband
else.
actually is. Who was developing film in their
My
basement?
father in
Who
our
had
old
the
house.
chemicals, the knowledge, and the
He
space?
had all that in the basement, and it was a little room, and it was only for his camera stuff. And
You
if he
never
took,
told me this.
I don't know. I don't think it ever needed to come up.
I know my father-in-law as a butcher.
Yes, but one of his hobbies, I don't even know if it was a hobby. I think it was just the way they did when they took pictures. Like, this is how you will have to see your picture.
You would take your roll of film to a store like a Kodak or something, and they would develop it there. And you would have to wait like days, right? There was no instant pictures, and you would get your negatives back, and you would flip through. You don't remember the excitement you would get when you would get your pictures from? I don't remember where we were getting it, but you would go pick up your pictures. That's what we were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember disposable cameras?
Mm-hmm.
Loved them. People still have them, I guess, but it was a different time.
Mm-hmm.
All that to say, we were just talking about the invention of technology and how all of these technological advances have changed our workforce. Mm-hmm. You still don't agree that everyone needs to go to college. I think I agree with you on that. It might not be college in the traditional sense of a 4-year degree, but I do think you do need to be in a trade, because even though technology is doing all these things, you still have to know how to build it, service it, right? All of those things. And we need more people in trades to do it.
Yes.
You know what's concerning to me, though? People are using college as a utility when before it might not have been about job utility. It may have been about knowledge and growth, right? Like learning and growing as a person. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing a decline in people going into degrees like English or liberal arts in general. Mm-hmm. And that's concerning because it's a lack of appreciation of how connected the world is. We need liberal arts. Mm-hmm. We need English majors. As much as I'm a STEM girl and like I want people to go into STEM fields, for other reasons than I think maybe people realize. Like my push for people to go into STEM is kind of what you said in the beginning. I want your world to be open. Mm-hmm. It's one of the hardest degrees to get into. That does not mean other degrees are just easy, but it's one of the harder things to get into. The world is your oyster if you're admissible into STEM fields that you can do truly any. And I just want people to have choice, not only selection of these 3 things, but you have the world. Right. That's my push. Mm-hmm. So but I need people who want to go into these degrees, and we're seeing a decline, which is tied to the lack of critical thinking, which is why people think that they can drink bleach to get rid of COVID, right? Like the lack of critical thinking and the connectedness of the world is how we end up in these really tragic situations when people don't know better.
Right.
That's my push for why I want people to go to college, more for growth and understanding and developing skills that might not lead directly to a job, but lead to you being a better human being.
Right.
Drop the mic.
Agree.
Okay. I'm just totally shifting gears because I find that what we're talking about happening in higher ed, I feel like is just some evil plot. Honestly, I do. And I'm not in the room developing the evil plot, but it feels like an evil plot. That I want to ask you a question. Mm-hmm. Who is your favorite villain of all time and why?
Of course, the obvious answer would be like a Killmonger.
He's an anti-hero. He's not a villain.
Okay, so then my person is an anti-hero then.
Okay, who's your anti-hero?
Because Jake Sully. Because the people that were in the movie, and he's from Avatar. He's the blue dude from Avatar.
They're all blue.
Yes. So I don't.
He was the Marine. He was a Marine.
Yes.
Who was in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. Had a twin brother who didn't survive whatever mission. Mm-hmm. And he took his place. And he became a part of the people over time. So Jake Sully was a human that turned into, I can't even name, what are the name of the people?
I don't remember either.
became
Lorenzo
one
will
of.
put the script. The thing
Why
on.
we rely on Lorenzo fix it? What is
Yes.
it?
So
Navi.
I'll say this as a and this is my whole Avatar rant, especially as we're taking over countries.
Mm-hmm.
And as the viewers, Jake Sully is the good guy.
People think Jake Sully's a good guy.
No, I'm saying if we're watching Avatar, the way that James Cameron has written this movie, the blue people are the good guys.
Oh yeah, the blue people.
And
for
Jake
sure.
Sully
I
is
completely agree.
I say
Yes.
he's a. So
I thought you said Jake Sully. People thought he was a good guy.
Well, Jake Sully is
He's a horrible person.
He's the leader of the blue people.
You should have left them people alone. You had no business being there. You are a horrible person.
Okay,
Get out of there.
And he's not actually a villain. That's why my answer is complicated, because I want people to understand, if you've never watched the Avatar movies, the human beings in the movie are us. We're going to other people's places, blowing them up,
stealing their resources
and justifying it and getting mad when they fight back. So if I'm a human in Avatar and we see it, and I hate to spoil the movie for those who have, in the third one, there's a scene where they're like, humans are mad at Jake Sully, calling him a terrorist and a traitor in his home country. Yeah. So that being said,
Jake is your favorite villain.
He's not a villain. In the movie perspective.
He
From
is
a human perspective.
He is a villain on all levels.
How?
He's an imposter. He is devious. He doesn't even fully subscribe to the Na'vi people belief systems. He tries to push his humanness on the Na'vi, and not in a great way. He is a villain.
He's a colonizer.
He's a colonizer.
Well,
Name
I was
a
talking
good
about
colonizer.
If I'm just technically, if you were to ask James Cameron would say he's the hero in the movie.
Is James Cameron a white man?
I'm assuming, yeah.
Okay.
But I'm saying, James Cameron, he gives us 3-hour movies because I'm like, does he leave anything on the editing floor? Because he tells you the whole story.
He's fantastic.
That's why the movies take 3 hours.
I don't mind his storytelling.
Well, Titanic, I'm like Steve Harvey, bring on the water. But
okay, Titanic
Avatar movies, he gives us the full movie. Long.
Okay, and Titanic made me mad. Rose might be the villain.
There have been people that said that.
No, Rose is a villain. Multiple reasons. You killed the love of your life by not sharing the door. Villain, and they found this $1 million worth necklace and you threw it back in the ocean. You selfish from the beginning all the way to the end. Rose is a villain. Okay. But that's not my favorite villain. So, I'm telling you now, Jake Sully is not an anti-hero. He's truly a villain, and that's my beef with James Cameron and how he made Jake Sully look in the video. Because would you call Christopher Columbus an anti-hero or a villain?
Well,
I would call him a villain, but the
fact that every state in this country has a Columbus Day means somebody thinks he's a hero.
We have Indigenous Peoples Day.
Yes, because people have said, wait a minute, he is not.
And that's my point.
But if Christopher Columbus Day is a national holiday, so somebody thinks he did something right. Okay. Is Jake Sully Christopher Columbus?
Yes!
I thought you said the movie was Fern Gully.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Coming from a guy that never watched Ferngully, I literally think Ferngully walked so Avatar could run. We've seen this before. Thank God for Ferngully, because I'm a great human being because I watched Ferngully. Mm-hmm. Seriously. But I'm telling you, in the story itself, John Smith, Christopher Columbus, not great people. Jake Sully's just like them.
Yeah. So that was my question. I think I said, is Avatar based on Pocahontas? And then you said no, it's based on Ferngully. I mean, I'm pretty sure he didn't say it's based on
I didn't say it was based on Ferngully. I said Ferngully was Avatar.
That's my point. Like,
Ferngully was Avatar.
James Cameron didn't say, oh, there's Ferngully. I'm going to write my version of it. But the stories.
Yeah, the stories are the same.
Yeah.
And it's a good movie. If you haven't watched Ferngully, go watch it. I think we're going to watch it for movie night tonight.
It's my night to pick. The kids have already said it's my turn.
Picked for you.
Your turn is next week. You are picking Ferngully.
We'll be in there crying.
Avatar.
You know what movie I'll never watch with the kids? This is so crazy, but I'm serious. A Land Before Time. I cry every time. To this day.
That's fine. We'll watch Bambi with them then. They need to learn
I won't let
as a kid.
I won't let the kids watch Dumbo, Bambi, A Land Before Time, because I'm emotionally scarred.
Protecting them
Old Yeller.
from heartache.
Why were we watching this stuff? I feel like my whole being is been warped because of these movies that we watched as a kid. I cried in all of those. I still don't watch the scene where Scar throws Mufasa. I fast forward it because it hurts my feelings so much. Who would do that to their brother? I can't watch it. So bad. Are you laughing at me? I can't do it. It's horrible. Bambi's bad. Like, no.
That's why these kids soft right now.
Okay, you watch it with them.
I mean, Waylon gets it. Waylon's like, he killed him. Yeah. Yes, he did.
Is that all you said?
He killed him dead.
And on that note,
yeah,
you're sticking with Jake Sully?
No, my answer is Killmonger, but I wanted to have the discussion about Jake Sully and how he's
the villain,
invading
yes.
their country. Yes. But if you ask the writer will tell you Jake Sully is not the...
He is absolutely the villain. That's all I got to say. All right. Well, that's our episode.
Thank you again for tuning in to another episode of the Princess of STEM with Dr. Whitney Gaskins. For more episodes, find us on YouTube and Spotify.